Something that really changed my life when it comes to dealing with stress, and really changed how much stress is present in my life at all, was coming to recognize that most of the time when I was feeling uneasy about something, when something seemed as though it was a problem to me and it was causing me stress, I was perceiving it from a very zoomed in, hyper fixated perspective. And when I started to develop the skill of being able to zoom out and gain perspective over certain problems, especially in certain moments when stress started to come on, I would very quickly be able to nip it in the butt, so to speak, and it would dissipate. It would sort of just vanish. I would not fall into the trap of only looking at my problem, at this thing that was bringing on some stress through a pigeonhole. And really, that's what we do. We look at our issues and these things that stress us in day to day life through a pigeonhole. It's like the only thing that our mind is giving attention to in a given moment. And that's why it seems like the end of the world if we overcooked the chicken or if you're running late for something. I heard the free solo rock climber Alex Honnold speak on this once, sort of indirectly. And he was talking about when he sees people flustered, like in the airport. You know, you have a lot to deal with in the airport. It's a very stimulating environment. You have to check your bags. You have to get to your gate on time. And he says when he goes to an airport, keep in mind, this is someone who has climbed up cliffs that, one slip of the fingers, and that means the end of his life. When he sees people being all frantic in these environments and being all stressed, he said he thinks to himself, like, when is the last time your life was actually in danger? Because none of this is actually going to matter. Like any mistake at the airport, even if you miss your flight, even if you didn't get flight insurance that maybe rolls over your flight to the next one, all that happens is you're out some cash. You're still alive. But your body and your mind are behaving as though that's not the case. They behave as though it's going to quite literally be the end of your life. That's what the fight or flight response is all about. If you miss that flight or if you're a little bit late to the party that you're trying to get to on time. When you think about what the stress response is, it is the fight or flight response, meaning in a biological evolutionary sense, our nervous system is programmed to spike our stress response, our fight or flight response, give the body more cortisol, more blood flow to the extremities, to be able to run very fast and very urgently away from danger, or maybe close in on potential meals that we're hunting. Because these things mean life or death. Or at least they used to in more prehistoric times. But in the case of getting to the party on time or catching your flight, life or death is not the case. What is the case is inconvenience, oftentimes. You overcook the chicken. Okay, now the chicken's going to be a little dry. It's not going to be as pleasant to eat. You're a little late to the party. You're going to have an apology to make. Hey, sorry, we were late. You missed the flight. Okay, you're out some cash. I'll give you that one. That one kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world, especially if you're not someone who lives paycheck to paycheck. I was out for a walk the other day and I saw a lady getting really upset at an employee who worked for a garden company. I saw the work truck parked outside the house. And she was getting very upset over like the hedges or something. I don't know. She was pointing to the hedges and she was just really mad about something. But the hedges looked like they were in great shape, It's like maybe the guy did like an A- of a job instead of an A+, and she was so stressed out and upset by it. When this is someone who, this was a quite a wealthy area that I happened to be walking in. So this is an individual who's probably amongst the top like 5% of affluence globally. And their stress is coming from the fact that their hedges are not so perfectly trimmed the way they wanted them to be. So most people are in situations where their survival needs are quite met, but they lack perspective to recognize that there's quite literally no need to be as stressed out about most of the things that they derive their stress from, but it's a habit. We rehearse this day in and day out because of this pigeonhole perspective that we often have and this biological process that's in us, but it's being misallocated. And if you have the perspective and the ability to zoom out, right, to have the awareness and to consciously choose to zoom out and look at your issues, your points of stress from a wider, broader perspective, considering the true ramifications of whatever it is that's bringing you stress, that stress will almost always quite instantly either dissipate completely or drastically. But the catch is that you have to have, number one, the perspective to be able to zoom out and acknowledge the fact that it's actually okay. And number two, the awareness to be able to catch yourself in a moment when your stress starts to spike. And that really is the hard part. It is pretty simple if you are someone who has any shred of self-honesty to recognize that you overstress about a lot of your issues. But the difficult part is having the awareness to be able to catch yourself in the moment. So how do we develop this awareness to be able to zoom out, take a deep breath, realize that our body's biological process is unnecessarily being active so that we can consciously regulate ourselves? Well, you can have a meditation practice. This is one of the endless benefits of having a meditation practice, is that you can regulate your nervous system a lot better and consciously. This is because the more you practice meditation, the more you rehearse catching your mental activity when it is not necessarily desirable. So if you practice meditation where you simply focus your attention on your breath, when the thoughts arise and you notice yourself getting caught up in them, you realize, oh, there I go again, focusing on the thoughts. Let's go back to the breathing, focus back on the breath, and let the thoughts go out the back door. You can see where there's a direct link here to being able to recognize, oh, there's this spiraling that I'm going through where I'm starting to stress over something that isn't actually that significant. Let me have the awareness now to zoom out, take a deep breath, and gain some perspective and recognize that this actually isn't that big of a deal. So meditation, essentially in this case, is helping you to be able to catch your mental activity as it starts, when it starts doing its thing and spiraling in a way that doesn't serve you. Now, before we go here, I want to mention that I'm not saying none of your problems ought to be focused on and solved. I'm not saying that it's not valid to be stressed about anything that you're stressed about. I'm saying often it's very disproportionate, the stress response we have relative to what it is that's stressing us. And that disproportionate stress response is also going to cloud our ability to solve whatever problem we're facing, whatever event we're facing that is triggering the stress in the first place. So I'm not saying to go ahead and spiritually bypass anything in your life that causes you stress. What I'm saying is have the awareness to zoom out, gain some perspective, recognize that it's probably not as big of a deal as your nervous system often thinks it is, and then go about solving that stress event, that problem in your life, with a more calm, clear, and collected mind. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Be sure to check out the links in the description below. If you want to work with me one-on-one, there's a link to book a free coaching call with me, and there's also a link to claim a free life audit workbook, which is a great resource to be able to reflect on certain changes that you want to make in your life, and also track and measure your progress towards those changes as well, all in the same place. Thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next one.